How's it going, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. And here are my thoughts on my first animation coming back, and that is Different. So, my inspirations for this first animation is, off the bat, over the last couple of years, I strongly believe in doing what makes you happy and being confident in that and just simply doing it. And be doing it like whatever your audience, like, even if your audience believes and wants you to do one thing, and if you're just either not happy with it anymore or just you want to do something different, I fully support and respect that. Another inspiration is, honestly, I just need to get something out there. I've been, as you guys know or didn't know, I haven't really been on social media much over the last several months. But I have been working my ass off in the background, learning different animation concepts and creating a bunch of little animated shorts. And I know that even though I am very hesitant on social media, and I will be one of the first to say that I genuinely don't really like social media, but I also know that I need to play the social media game in order for me to get anywhere with this new creative career that I am starting up. The final inspiration is in my learnings and in the class that I am in, the Animators Guild Academy. One of the first animations that you learn is called the swarm animation. And what you guys see is precisely that. So just to teach you guys a little bit about animation, what I've been learning, the type of animation that I created is called straight ahead animation. And what that is that you take a drawing and then you go to the next frame, then you have another drawing and another frame, another drawing, and you just keep going, but you don't know what the end result is. So what's great is that you can improvise. If you love improvising, that's a great way to animate. And you can get really creative that way as well. And you can get pretty artsy that way. But the problem is proportions and composition kind of fall on the wayside, and you don't have as much structure going that way. So as for the swarm animation itself, what you have, and this is like, again, for complete beginners, if you want to get into animating just like me, you have a dot, and then you go to the next frame, and you have another dot, and then you go to the next frame, another dot, another dot, another dot, another dot, and then all of a sudden what you see is you have this particle that's actually moving in space. What's fun then is that you take other particles and you have them kind of go with the other particles. And so as my little homage to that, I've decided that the first animation that I share with you guys is a swarm. Some of the things that I enjoyed with this animation and what I've learned from this animation. So for off the bat, as I said before, straight ahead animation. Now, I will be the first to admit that I prefer pose to pose animation, which you will see later. And that is where you have one drawing, like a key drawing, and then you have another key drawing, and then you bridge that gap and you create other drawings so that you go from here and then you move to here. But not for this animation. This is, as I said, straight ahead animation, and I will admit I'm still a bit of a novice in terms of straight ahead animation, and I want to work more on that specific type of animation. And so I think the swarm animation is a great introduction toward that type of animation style. Another thing that I personally enjoy with this animation is the color choice. So if you guys didn't get it from this animation, the premise is simply you have the yellow particle, which is me, who's been, following the crowd for, pretty much my entire life. And honestly, it's only taken me to a couple months ago to really kind of question, who am I really and what do I enjoy? And just throughout my entire life, I would either fit into a mold or just be kind of that secondary character in the group, and I don't really talk, or I don't really like show my emotions or express really anything. But it took me again a couple of months to realize kind of like what is it that I really enjoy. And what this animation expresses is kind of, breaking away from the group and, doing my own thing. And so with the color choice, and again, the way I perceive this all is in a group, it's like you literally don't really get to see like their full colors. You kind of see them from their outside like perspective. And so that's why you get like the different shades of gray. And then you also get like that, grayish blue and grayish red, where it's like you know them a little bit more, but it's like you don't really know them that much, if that makes any sense. But then as the animation progresses, one little subtle detail which I love doing is the subtle details. When you have the part where the yellow particle is interacting with the red and blue particles, as they are together more and more, the blue becomes more vibrant blue and the red becomes a more vibrant red. And so you see the yellow kind of then sees their true colors, and that's great. Being able to see that. Now, of course, not everyone will love to see, everyone's true colors. But, I think it's great just to not be afraid of, who you are and, what you want to do. And if that changes over time, great. Like, no one is the same person their entire lives. And that's one of the hard things that I had to overcome here the last few years, is realizing that. And so, yeah, the color choice, and then also the background. So going back to subtle things, one of the subtle things I enjoyed about this is slowly but surely you see some of the green, like blobs or clouds or whatever you want to call it, like it slowly moves from left to right. And the way I perceive that is time. No matter what happens, time keeps moving on and on, no matter what happens. And I honestly feel like now is the time for me to try something new. And I'll be honest, is animation like my ultimate passion? No, I don't think so. But what I want to do is, again, I want to tell stories and I want to get creative, but I want to use animation as another tool that I could put in my tool belt. Now, let's just talk about some of the things that I need to either work on or things that I struggled with this animation, because I'm not perfect. First of all, timing. I will admit that, especially at the end, I felt like that was a little fast, and I kind of wanted to develop that, friendship between the yellow, blue, and red particles a little bit more. But I also don't want to drag this animation on for too long, because as I said, I'm working on each of these animations once a week. But then on the flip side, I also felt like the beginning part of the animation was a little too fast as well. And I really didn't give time to really show you guys really, the friend group, if you will. Another thing that I struggled with, and I talked about this a little bit at the beginning of this video, is the line thickness. Unfortunately, the size of the particles do kind of change over time, especially when you get to the part where the yellow is interacting with the red and blue. The lines get a little bit thicker. If I had more time, I probably would go back and I would adjust on that. But again, I'm at a point where it's like, I'd rather just get it out there, take my, mistake, and just move on. And then the last thing is when to incorporate music. So to be honest, the song that you heard is something that I decided to throw in at the last moment. As I mentioned in the first video, that music wasn't necessarily, or audio wasn't necessarily like a top priority. But I also had a feeling with this animation that I feel like having the music just to kind of set the tone for what this animation is about, I feel like helps. The problem though was I added the music at the end and I didn't necessarily incorporate it into the animation itself. So moving forward, when I add audio, it's probably a better idea to plan it out beforehand so that it can be incorporated much better into the animation itself. So, with that being said, here are my final thoughts. So off the bat, these thought videos will not be as long as this first one. The only reason this thoughts video is longer is just to, it's like the syllabus. Just getting it out there so that you guys have an idea of what to expect every week. And as I said, I just want to get something out there. I know I could keep, building my arsenal and, hiding it or whatever from the rest of society, but if I really want to pursue this creative career, and really figure out exactly which route I want to go, I just gotta get stuff out there. And I know that people mostly not everyone will agree with these, with what I'm saying, but I think it's just important for me to just get that out there and just get out what, I want to say. And yeah, I do have, a different point of view that not everyone agrees with. It's just, I hope you guys can understand my point of view. And then another thing I do want to acknowledge is, I don't want to make this a big deal. This will probably be the only time I will talk about this, but, in order for me to work on these animations, I do wake up at 4:30 in the morning to work on these. Because I don't know if I told you this already, but I'm still doing, the full-time job, and I'm not quitting that anytime soon because it helps me, pay the bills, help live here, and be able to continue pursuing this creative career. So I am, 1 to 2 hours every weekday. I'll have a little more time on the weekends. Saturday is more for post-production and, creating this thoughts video and getting it out there. And then Sunday is kind of like the initial start of the next animation. I don't expect to have an animation down every single week, but I want to work on that, just, get stuff out there, and go from there. So yeah, and then if you're wondering why can't I just work on it when I get home from work, the biggest reasons is I'm prone to make more excuses not to. And that's just because I'm overwhelmed from work in the first place, and it's I'm tired, and it's do I really even want to work more on these animations when I get home from work? No, I'd rather just chill, do my own thing, watch a show, do me, whatever, and then wake up at 4:30 and then start the process again. And so yeah, I am a, older person who does go to bed at 8, 9 p.m. at night. So yeah, and then I guess the last thing I do want to acknowledge is I am starting from the bottom again. And I know that people are saying Return of the King and whatever. I am human. I, am just doing my thing. And yeah, I do not plan or want to have any viral videos. I want to just have these small animations build up, and at some point I will get more and more comfortable with social media and being on there more and more frequently and not being overcome and feeling overwhelmed being on social media. And that's the thing, is just doing my thing and owning it. And that's the last thing I want to mention, is that I want to own what I am doing here. Because as I said, a couple of years ago, when I did the full-time job, I definitely felt like I lost all control. The Android 2003 work just didn't feel like my work. And I want to, as I've said before, take back my life and own it. And that's exactly what I'm doing with these animations. So, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching this. As I said, these thought videos are not going to be as long, but I want to just kind of get you guys out there, or let you guys know kind of just my thought process and what I'm going through. And yeah, every week you'll see an animation, hopefully. If one isn't coming out, I will let you guys know. And yeah, we'll go from there. So, with that being said, thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for watching. It's greatly appreciated. And this is Griff Dog saying so long. Until next time.